Ready? Let's go. Okay. I'm not gonna do April Fool joke because I hate April Fool joke. So I'm just saying this is not a joke. Okay? This is not a joking show. Nobody's supposed to be laughing or anything. I'm telling you, this is serious stuff, okay? Alright. Let's go, you guys. I know nobody's here yet, so I'm just talking to myself right now. It's okay. I know you guys gonna join later on, maybe. Or maybe not. Who cares? I own Gamestop. Alright. So. Sorry about that. Alright guys, so let's talk about what is going on. I'm sure you guys all know that we just completed. Okay, give me 1 second here. We had just completed our bond offering. And yes, I feel like Ryan, watch my show. Let me tell you why I think that. Because yesterday's show, I was talking about a rocket business, okay? And what do you think just happened today where okay, let me. Hey, what's up, man? Let's go. But anyway, so here's what I think. Why? I think Ryan Cohen, watch my show, you guys. I feel it. Look at this. It's called Work Project Rocket. Can you imagine that? We're building a rocket business right now. This is so cool, you guys. But anyway, I'm just actually joking. Now it's a April Fool. Okay, so, but no, it's not an April Fool that we actually completed our thing over here. And we have officially have an additional $1.48 billion in addition to our balance sheets. So if we were to do the math right then, because there's fee involved and all that stuff, so the leftovers, right, is what we need to kind of calculate from this. Okay, you guys, hold on 1 second. Let me try to find the shareholder equity. Okay, that's a lot. But I actually want to find this one right here. Okay, so let's, again, just the exact math, right? Just in case. We got accused of like making new numbers up here. Okay, so I want to do this real quick. Let's say 4,700,000,000. Okay, plus 1.48, right, billion dollars. Okay, I think that's so now we have $6.23 billion in cash. Okay, and like I said, Ryan, if you are watching this, you want to be lethal. You want to be quick with this one. Okay, I know Bitcoin it came up a little bit here, but there's an opportunity to buy perhaps tomorrow. Who knows, right? Liberation Day type of deal here. So Trump, might crash the market, and in turn will crash Bitcoin with it as well. So maybe, April 7th would be the best time to buy. Maybe next week, just again, just to make sure that every single negative news is out of the market and people are, you know, kind of like forgetting about the the pain of market crash. But again, I'm telling you, $6 billion is a perfect position to buy Bitcoin with that money. If you want to be safe, though, you could do $1 billion a day until, April 7th, right? So starting tomorrow, just do $1 billion every trading day onto Bitcoin. And then after you finish buying every day, you announce every day to combat the negative news, right? From the market crash. And so that would be the perfect strategy, in my opinion, right? Just to, every time you buy Bitcoin, you just announce it. It's like, okay, today we completed $1 billion worth of buy. Tomorrow, we just completed another $2 billion worth of buy. Can you imagine with that back-to-back news? That would cause the share price to be crazy. And again, I'm telling you, this strategy, obviously, just buying Bitcoin is already should have some reaction already, the price. However, the people that have the ability to keep the price down, they have to, right? And if you look at, let me see, dark pool order and all that stuff, I'm sure people tracking it. Let me see. We already have more dark pool order. Look at this, that comes in. Tens of millions of dollars here. We're not talking about just like a couple shares here and there, okay? These are institutional level of FOMOing in to buy. And $10 million worth of buys there. Apparently, Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren here, Mark Warner or whatever, trying to stop Doge from looking into the corruption that is happening. Well, they're just looking at the transaction and all that stuff. But the point is that, they are scared of something, okay? And something that might be GameStop here. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just speculating, you guys. Please be careful, believing everything that you are reading. All right, so let's see. Right now you have, okay, right here too. So just in 8 hours ago, today's trading, apparently there has been a Chicago exchange. Of course, we think that this is Rowan Kitty. It's just a speculation again. Of $1 million by bid side or whatever, and so they're trying to grab it, and there's just one lonely order through the Chicago exchange there. But and then also too, there's a lot of calls buying, and let's see, this one expire in April 4th. So short-term spike. This is like Friday, I think, right? So there you go. It's good news there. Like, again, look at this. Okay, let me scroll down. There are people who buying call option way into the 2 years from now. There you go. So they're expecting something like this company is going to go up in price. Obviously, call option is very risky. You could lose everything. However, if you are right, obviously, and it's like in 2 years, $50 a share. Will that ensue? Who knows, right? But with this convertible bonds, though, you have a lot of runway to do business with this type of money. Keep forgetting about the money that we have here. Okay, so, and what I was looking at, of course, we're going to learn about more Bitcoin, right? Because again, this is the asset class that we are going to get into. I know. There's a lot of information about Bitcoin and all that stuff. I'm not try to convince you if you don't believe in the technology aspect of it, but I hope that people learn more about it so that they understand the ramification, whether good or bad, right? Of course, I'm biased because I know what Bitcoin is in my mind. I could be wrong. Versus, what is happening right now. I feel like good news is coming, and of course, people are just bogged down by the price action, and they don't really look into the future of what can happen over here. And of course, we are looking for, the next leg up, and this is the one that we are looking for. It might do this little dance over here. Hold on, this is hot 8. I'm looking to accumulating this one too, but not at the moment because Bitcoin is on all the craze over here. Okay, let me do this one right here. Now, I feel like we are, of course, this is just me speculating. Please do not trade based on this. So we might be at around the time in which it can cascade down a little bit here. Who knows? This is what the hell? Let's do this real quick. It might be shorter than that, you guys, So May is when you see a lot of similarity between the time frame of the last one. And yes, so I'm thinking we are close to that price point, and it tracked pretty well. I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm like, wow, really? But I think this cycle, because of the news and institutional level of buying, scooping up it like crazy, I feel like this is going to continue, okay, to wherever, right? And if you look at the stock to flow model, like I showed you before, let's look at this one right here. You could see that we are undervalued at the moment because this line created a kind of, stair step case right here. And Bitcoin does not like to trade below this at all. And when it is below that, you could see that it wants to snap back to that line. Okay, so eventually we're going to trade above this line. Okay, so that's why, again, $1 million is coming. It might take longer than we think. Of course, the extension of people knowing what Bitcoin is and all that stuff, right? And not only institutions, you guys, corporations gonna buy it, city, state gonna buy it. Okay. So the race to accumulate Bitcoin and buy it up as much as they can is here. Elena, what's up? What's up? But anyway, so this is just a different model that people just model it up like that to kind of give us it's called long-term power law explain. Okay, so long-term, and I guess the more it's hard to see here. Look at this. Okay, so we are 2027, 2026. There we go. And 2026. So the top one, which is the purple, okay, purple line says around 500. So if it hits that cycle top again, as it wanted to do, and it's kind of muted over here a little bit here. So perhaps again some economic data. So you could kind of postulate that it's going to be somewhere in between this green, which is the lowest, which is 200,000. Okay, that's the green. And 500,000. That's a purple. So you could play with that, the chart there if you wanted to. Mullen automotive. Really? Oh my god, that slimy guy. Join the board of Palantir. Ugh. I hope that's April Fool because I can. um, I hate this day because I can't believe anything. Like I have a PTSD on this today, April Fool. Um, so don't do that. Like, don't be writing April Fool joke over here, claiming it's true. Was it New Week's that announced? What was it? Newsweek that announced it today? I have no idea. An unexpected move. Join the board of Palantir, sending shockwave to both car and data. My God, people are crazy. That guy is slimy. If it's true, okay. So it's a sad thing for Palantir then. That's the case. All right, guys. So this one is just another model in which it gives you a diminishing return, because the idea is that as the asset class mature, right, the volatility is not going to be as bad as the year when it was created. And so that means it takes more capital, more money, more, people to move it either direction. Okay. But from this particular point of view, you could see that anytime it's traded at the blue ribbon, okay, the blue ribbon, it's the best time to buy. It just means that Bitcoin does not like to trade below the blue ribbon, right? The only time that it traded below the blue ribbon here is this time period right here. But inevitably, it goes up in price, right? So this is the fair value point of view in which we are going to experience at least a band up, okay? So with this cycle though, it seems, with this particular depiction, it seems like the only time in which we reach the maximum hype is this year right here, the last 2 cycles ago. So I mean, with this news, with this, positive development on Bitcoin, accumulation by corporation, Federal Reserve bonds, whoever, right? There's a lot of demand here. I think it would be naive of us to think that it won't reach the red zone. Okay. So the red zone with this model here is around $400,000 there. Of course, it could exceed that too, right? But again, based on the historical data here, you could see that curve of adoption here. Metcalfe's law, whatever you want to term it. And again, it's almost like a mathematical thing, right? Because it's given people the opportunity to kind of accumulate and before the institution as well. What we want, of course, is Ryan Cohen to buy in as quickly as possible. As I suggested earlier, if you haven't been here, I feel like $1 billion a day until until Monday. And that would be great, huh? Let's see. Newsmax stock. Okay. Stock jump to 14. That's what I mean. Oh, okay. Okay. I have no idea what you mean there. Still. That rainbow indicator as well. Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's amazing, right? When you kind of visualize how and again, this is why it's so undervalued, right? In my opinion, obviously. Not to say it won't come down or anything, but like over here, I'm sure people were scared of that movement right there. So let me see if I could find that particular point there. Right here. So if you were around that time, I'm sure people freaked out this candle right here. In a week, it's 25% down. But then all they have to do is just wait. And then inevitably, it's being bought back in 9 weeks. But again, agonizing 9 weeks, right? When you're over here and you hear Kramer, right, speak in your ear, oh, it's gonna go lower. What are you gonna do? You're gonna freak the F out and you're gonna be like, I'm selling. So don't freak out. It's okay. You know? I'm telling you, even right here. Okay. Now I just listened to this guy. Let's see. He said 62, right? Hold on, let me see. 62. Let's say tomorrow, tariffs announcement. People are pulling their hair out, and then immediately, the whole week, it's gonna drop to 62. I'll show you in a minute where I hear that, but that will support this trend line right here, right? So there may be just talking about this trend line right here being supported, turn into the support. Again, not saying that's gonna happen tomorrow. Maybe the whole week, the whole, month, it's going to be negative news, tariffs, whatever the negative news is. Oh, and then the Fed is gonna speak as well Friday. So that's remain to be seen, right? And so the whole week is going to be like that. So just again, preparing yourself, right, for the drop. And I'm telling you, just don't freak out. It will solve itself. People have money on the sideline, like Warren Buffett, for example. Okay, maybe he's gonna change his mind on Bitcoin, right? Who knows? That would be like mind blown, right? I'm saying, just in case this doesn't happen, I feel like Ryan Cohen should at least establish $1 billion right now. Okay, tomorrow. Talking about tomorrow. And so, but anyway, so let me play this one right here. This is where I get 62 from. Okay.
So Bitcoin is down. It's actually not a surprise to our clients because Mark Newton, our head of technical strategy, really pointed out the cycles in mid-January that he was targeting 62,000 for Bitcoin by the end of March. So we're actually on our way to 62, but that's not a bearish development. It's just a retracement. So Bitcoin.
That's crazy, huh? But anyway, so again, mentally prepare yourself for that. But you just know that, I mean, Jimmy has $6 billion to buy Bitcoin when it drops. Can you imagine? Oh my God. Okay, $6 billion at 62. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. 62,000. Oh, the calamity. The calamity. Can you imagine this? People, I'm telling you, this is bullish. Bullish. I can't stress this enough, you guys. Bitcoin highest will go as... Wait. Okay, no more than 120. All right, I'll hold you to that. Benito. Sorry if I butcher your name. Bitcoin costs a lot to send and use too much energy. Ah, ah. I mean, there's off exchange in which you could do this without on chain, right? I'm sure there's ways for people to send it less expensive, less expensively. I don't know. Disagree with that. It's not sustainable stable coin. XRP is cheaper and quicker. Sure, but again, it's still a store of value, right? Bitcoin is still going to be that narrative. So, I mean, if you send what is the transaction cost right now per transaction? If you know, please tell me. There's a reason why Ripple CEO is close to Trump. Nobody knows who owns Bitcoin, and banks will invest in them since it's a liability. So I don't know if you know that they just do away with some rule that Bitcoin is a liability if they were to hold it. So bank could hold Bitcoin now as an asset. So I disagree with that point, but perhaps again with the regulations and all that stuff. I understand you said that with XRP and all that stuff. Yes, it's faster, it's more quicker to send, but it's still a form of transference. Okay, meaning it's transferring. Okay, from one to another. So a means to transfer, a means to transferring from point A to point B. But what are you transferring? Yes, you could transfer Bitcoin to some other things and all that stuff. So the utility is going to happen on the asset in and of itself. So like I said, you could send Bitcoin over the XRP ledger and it would be cheaper. You don't even, have to send it through the blockchain in and of itself. So whoever want to adopt Bitcoin, yes, Bitcoin, again, on chain, if you want to transact on chain, unless you have $1 billion at a time as a store of value, you wouldn't mind paying $100 per transaction, right? So again, it's made for billionaires to send to each other here. Okay. But again, my point is that the amount that you need per transaction will become cheaper over time. Okay, so that's the idea of halvening. Okay, the halvening event is made for that purpose, to make each transaction more cheap, more affordable over time. Okay, but again, it's going to take its time, right? Yes, more energies and all that stuff, and also too, it's going to entice people to compete to make energy cheaper. I mean, that's crazy, right? Because they have the economic incentive to make energy cheaper because they want to transfer in Bitcoin, right, to each other. Will that ever happen? Well, if people realize what Bitcoin is, they would make it happen. Because remember, yesterday we learned that deflationary is supposed to happen to humanity. Deflationary is the good thing because it makes things cheaper. However, we still need the units of transference, which is what XRP is all. It's all for, right? And so yeah, the so that the system doesn't collapse in an instant when inflation is not up on the menu anymore. So it's hopefully it's gonna fix everything, but again, to get there, I feel like it's going to cause a little bit of disturbance here. So Yes, buckle up for sure. Buckle up for sure. Don't get shaking out no matter what happened. I know. It's painful to see your portfolio in red, but I assure you, by the end of this, you're going to be glad that you have hold on for dear life. Again, just make sure you survive, okay? Make sure you have enough to survive whatever 6 7 months coming months, so that you don't have to sell at a loss in order to support your current lifestyle. Rule of thumbs, okay? Rule of thumbs. 62,000 is very close to what I was saying, okay, a few days ago. 72 seems more correct. Okay. Really scary. Some folks, yep, shaking. XRP back holder. Okay, why are we calling people's name here? We encourage back holders in this accord. So, I mean, a cult. Am I saying that right? Cultish? Cult? So it's okay to be a back holder. If you're holding a piece of diamonds, yeah, a bag of diamonds, yeah, and that's a good thing, right? Let me see. Less than pennies to cents. Yes, I know, I understand that. But again, that's relying. It's so reliant on people actually using the ledger to send, right? It's remained to be seen. We need a lot more developers and people coming in. It seems because now XRP is free. It's a no longer deemed as a security, and it could foster a lot more developers now. So you might not see the price action that people are predicting it to be, like $10,000 a coin, until everybody get to develop on it and use it and all that stuff and benefit from that. Of course, I'm not talking about Ripple here. I'm talking about the XRP ledger in and of itself here. 66, I believe is okay. Yes, that's true. To send a lot of money with Bitcoin okay. XRP ledger, XRP price has to be high. Oh, okay. That's true. See, like, yes. Yes, the more value that has to be sent through any ledger, obviously, the better, right? Because that means the volume has to meet it up with that. So, of course, that's going to happen over the years. But that's also going to take quite some time for people to develop, realizing that they could develop on the ledger itself. Business opportunity is going to be wild, you guys. I'm telling you, if you know how to develop on it, you could make money in your sleep here. Of course, I'm not smart enough to do that, but I'm sure, just holding the coin itself is also tremendously valuable as well. And then just wait for the time being where, people are going to flock in to try to build on it. So I'm excited for XRP for sure. But, $1,000 a coin right now at this moment, it's a bit too steep for me. But again, I could be wrong, right? But I will hold it for quite some times more before I will sell. Yeah, it's more like a time frame than price point for me. Because again, 10 years, you'd never know. You would never guess what anyone, where anyone is, what price anything is. There you go. It's supply and demand. Has unlimited supply. Bitcoin don't. What? XRP do not have unlimited supply. No, they have more coins. Yes, they have more tokens, but it cannot be more created more until other has mine. Da, 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 da. Okay. So going double. Okay, I mean, wow. All right, saying with certainty over here. Well, it provides different use case for sure. So don't. All right, yeah. Let's go. Bet on it. Put your money where your mouth is, huh? Okay, anyway. Back to GME. Enough about this nonsense. Okay? So let's focus on GME right here. The best investment of your lifetime. Okay? Now that we have $6 billion plus, you guys, at this Bitcoin price, you could still accumulate. GME could still accumulate. Okay? So let's say instead of 62,000, on average, $6 billion. Okay? 6 billion divided by, let's say, 72. Okay? Try that. Still, 80,000 coin, right? That's crazy. Okay? Now, let's see. I mean, wouldn't it be funny if we were to buy 69,000 coins, right? That would be funny. That would be the greatest meme ever. Oh, how about this? What if we were gonna do 69.46 Bitcoin? I mean, can you imagine that? That would be the best meme ever, right? Hold on, let me try this. Okay, let's try this. Okay, 69 47 times. Okay, the price of Bitcoin. Let's just say right now. So that would be $5.6 billion worth of Bitcoin. Why 69? Again, that's Rowan Kitty, but Brian Cohen likes to meme too, so that would be so funny. Of course, any amount of Bitcoin would be suffice. I don't, imagine that he's going to do $6 billion worth. But if you want to deploy that whole thing to Bitcoin, obviously that's going to ignite the, Bitcoiners' investment base, and they will flock in for sure. Again, doing that, I'm sure, as a reserve, I don't think Ryan Cohen necessarily wants to, those type of investor to come in, because he knows probably they're just to, short-term speculating crowd. However, Bitcoiners are more hodler type of deal here. Now, if you're hardcore Bitcoiners, I'm sure you would much rather buy Bitcoin than buy GME. But for institution that does not have the ability to buy bonds and, all of that stuff, that, again, there's only a certain bond that they could buy. Remember that, right? And so with this type of bond, it has to be a convertible bond. It has to be whatever. So that's going to open up, the market for bond holders out there who love to get some exposure to Bitcoin. And again, this is why there are they don't mind to have the interest. What they care about is exposure to Bitcoin. Okay, and this is the proxy for sure for those institutions to get their hands on Bitcoin here. Okay. And of course, that's eliminate risk for them too, because no matter what, they're gonna get their money back, right? If all else fail here, if the share price doesn't hit the agree upon amount, they would just get their cash back, right? So it's good. It's good. It's dollar bill and it's dollar bill and gold bars. Okay. A lot of people love golds here. All right, so let's talk about that. What else? I feel. Let's bring our original cult leader. So people were pointing out the fact that there's 2 unavailable video that are hidden, and apparently this hasn't been there before. I didn't notice it myself, so I can't tell you whether that is true or not, but some people who have been kind of tracking the movement of Roaring Kitty here, kind of speculating that this was not there. So I'm just gonna believe them. Of course, I'm part of the cult, right? So you have to believe what you read there. And the speculation is that he's gonna come back soon, right? He wouldn't be like, stirring about like that. Okay. So that's good. It's good to know, right? Anytime YOLO update, that's what we are expecting. Who knows if he's gonna come back or not? But again, Jimmy does not need Roaring Kitty. Roaring Kitty is just an added fun to the whole thing. So of course. All right. So what did I have planned? Not much. I was gonna watch documentary of Bitcoin with you. But I think you could do that all by yourself. You don't need me here, Oh, okay. So that was a scam then. See? Don't believe everything you hear. Anyway, so let's watch this real quick. Moran just posted this an hour ago. I didn't see it myself, so I don't know.
1 per person.
Yeah, look, I just want to see. Do they look any different? They're all the same.
So the surprise boxes, it's themed after one which is random.
There it is. All the boxes. So weigh in line right now. People are arguing in the front. They're very mad that they can't get more than 1, it sounds like. So these guys came apparently at 5 a.m. and they're arguing with the manager again. But everyone's in the building and we're just kind of watching them. It's kind of funny. So we'll see how long this lasts for, but all the boxes right there.
I can't change my mind. I want as many people to get something as they can. Because if we were to do 2 per person, we'd be done here.
That's why we got here at the time that we did. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I do. I understand.
Because there was a sign posted when we got here that said 2 per pro member.
Wow. The demand is so crazy, you guys. So apparently they were arguing, I guess, man, that's bad. That they can't get their items, right? 2 per person. But then he was changing it to 1 per person because other people wouldn't be able to get the items or whatever. But it's Pokemon cards, so. Well, that's a good problem to have, I feel like. They're flocking in to buy your stuff. So it seems like we don't have enough stuff to sell. So that means, every time it's on inventory, we just sell it, right? So I don't know how to feel about that though, but it seems like we need to buy more, add more stuff into the inventory, and prepare for the people. I don't know how to solve that either, so that's for Ryan Cohen to figure it out. Did I catch Be More Live for once? Oh, cool. Well, you're welcome. we're having fun here when it's live. I hope so, at least, you know. You don't miss anything much though. It's April Fool. Typically, you know, this is a foolish show anyway. So it's a good day to catch me live though. Thank you though. All right, so people are manifesting like crazy that GM is gonna reach this amount of trading. Of course, that would be cool. That would be like, you know, heaven for me, because I don't know what I would do if I see this price. Okay, so let's see. What is this? Why am I scrolling, like doom scrolling like a crazy person over here? Okay, so MicroStrategy. Let me see. So this is bullish for Bitcoin for sure, right? Because you have Eric Trump apparently going into the hot egg business here, like Bitcoin mining business, and they were merging in some way with the energies and all that stuff. So let's listen in. It's 4 minutes long.
Welcome back. The Trump family's crypto blitz. Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. announcing their investment in a Bitcoin mining company. The Trump's American data centers merging with American Bitcoin, aiming to create the world's largest crypto miner and build its own Bitcoin reserve. Joining me now is Trump Organization Executive Vice President and the President's son, Eric Trump. Eric, great to see you.
How are you, Maria?
Great. Congratulations on this. Tell us what you're trying to do and why a Bitcoin reserve is needed.
Yeah, you know, Maria, I never thought I'd fall into the world of crypto until every bank started canceling us for absolutely no reason whatsoever other than the fact that my father was in politics, right? I mean, we got canceled by absolutely everybody. They came after us viciously. And it wasn't until that time that I realized how important crypto was, right? Something that's cheaper, faster, more transparent. You can't be canceled. That's global. And it's what made me fall in love with Bitcoin. It's what made me fall in love with, you know, DeFi and CeFi and stable coins. And we put a lot of our effort into it. We're building a great company, World Liberty Financial. Everybody's talking about it. It's doing phenomenally well. We just launched a stable coin. On the other side, American Bitcoin. I think it's going to be one of the great companies out there. So I truly believe in it. And really, my epiphany was, again, cancel culture and what these financial institutions controlled by very few at the top were able to do to people that they didn't like, even families like ours that had a lot of zeros at the end of their balance sheet.
Well, that's incredible that's one of the catalysts that got you into this.
That is so crazy, right? To have this wealth and you can't use it because somebody disagree with your point of view. And again, this is why the cornerstone of everything is freedom, okay? And this is why people love to come here to America. I know, you know, if you have a terrible life, obviously, you know, there's a lot of propaganda out there that kind of hate on America, for example, right? There's again, whether that's like created by some, you know, foreign entity who just doesn't want Americans to be free, okay? So free to transact, free to do whatever you need to do in order to feed your family, right? And again, they call it bureaucracy of, you know, politics and all that stuff. The foundation for this country is freedom. Okay, so freedom to transact with anyone that you want is important. Okay.
Which banks canceled you? What happened?
Oh God, everybody. Capital One being the largest. I've sued them recently. Chase canceled us.
Okay, so it was Capital One, because I know that Capital One also canceled Melania Trump, I understand as well. So it was Capital One. Yeah. Who else?
Maria, you can't believe when you get those calls, right? And we have properties, commercial buildings that have thousands of, literally hundreds and hundreds of employees, thousands of people that work in those buildings every single day. They call you up saying, in 2 weeks, we're going to need you to, shut down the bank account. Otherwise, we're going to send, these bank accounts are ecosystems, and they came after us viciously because my father was in the White House and they wanted to punish us, right? It was legal lawfare, it was political lawfare. And that's what opened my eyes. I mean, I'm a hard asset guy. My entire life has been building real, hotels, golf courses, real estate buildings, right? Commercial buildings, et cetera. That's what I've done. If there's anybody's eyes who shouldn't have been open to the world of cryptocurrency, it was mine, other than I realized the power that these banks had, and I realized how they were exerting that power, and they were canceling businesses all over our country. It was political. It was forced. They were targeting people that they didn't like. It wasn't fair. And then you realize that there's not a single thing that those banks do that can't be done better, cheaper, more efficiently, faster on blockchain. I mean, why is it that the modern financial system runs 9 to 5 Monday through Friday? Why is it, Maria, that if you want to go get a loan and you've been banking with a certain bank for 30 years, it would probably take you 100 days to go do it, and you'd be filling out antiquated paper forms? It doesn't make sense, right? And again, that's why I fell in love with crypto. And I truly believe that Bitcoin is one of the greatest stores of value, immediately liquid, an unbelievable hedge against real estate, and something we're really excited about.
This sentiment will grow much quicker than you think is going to be. So in the next 10 years, you're going to see an entirely different world, you guys. I'm telling you, and GME is setting up for that. 10 years from now, I know, it seems like a long time ago or a long time to go. But I'm telling you, this is the perfect setup for sure. And again, this makes sense now that Trump has been kind of like advocating for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in particular, obviously, but also taking advantage of, other development as well, rather than Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin was the first mover advantage, and it has the, capacity to be that store of value, have the network of people, have the true believer who's, buying and holding, hodling or whatever, for decades on end here. And so, those is not to be understated. Anytime you have a network of people who believe in certain things, you want to pay attention to it. Whether it's just a fringe, right? It used to be a fringe people, nerds and, gamers and all that stuff that are holding Bitcoin. They are exchanging Bitcoin to each other for the skins and, whatever. RuneScape, right? That was the earlier game. That I'm sure that it's still around till this day, right? RuneScape. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about there. And so with that, evolution of transfer of value, I think Trump did the right move when he, also including other, cryptocurrency as well. Not just Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin is important, but other development like XRP and, smart contract and all that stuff is going to help facilitate Bitcoin transaction much quicker, much safer. Hopefully, again, I'm telling you, technology is going to make things more affordable. It should be. But because we don't live in a free society, free market society, you don't get to benefit from the productivity of humanity, in the collection, the collective humanities efforts to make things cheaper, right? To make things more effective. There's no reason why you even have to work 8 hours a day anymore, because most of the works, can be done by the computer, right? And so again, there's a reason why you have to work 8 hours. And not only that, some people can't even afford the food, shelter, right? When it used to be only one income, you could feed the whole family. Now, 2 income could barely survive. Some, right? I'm not talking like I know high earner and all that stuff. If you know where to park your asset, of course you're going to be able to survive. But for the regular people, who go to work day in and day out, they have to, I guess, be smarter in way that they are investing their money, right? Hard asset or whatever, like he was saying, real estate, hard asset, and now you have Bitcoin, right?
That's just incredible, everything that you just said. Do you want to see specific regulation clarity in terms of what the boundaries are, the backdrop is in a regulatory front when it comes to stablecoin, when it comes to Bitcoin? What are your thoughts on what that looks like?
Yeah, I think everybody in the industry does. I mean, I think everybody wants guidelines. I mean, that's part of the problem in the crypto industry. It's always been so murky that people didn't know the guidelines to follow. And we have to be the leaders in this country. There's no question, because every other country in the world is doing it and doing it quickly. And I really actually think that U.S. stablecoin, saves the dollar in a very big way. There was a study done that, in Europe, only about 0.5% of Europeans would buy a European stablecoin. Pretty fascinating stuff. Everybody wants U.S. stablecoin, and I think that's tremendously good for the U.S. economy. But listen, crypto's here to stay, right? It's solving so many financial problems. It's bringing parity to the markets. You better believe that, when we look out 10 years in this country, the nature of finance, the nature of banking is going to be very, very different than it is today. And banking in this country is going to finally get in the modern age.
That's crazy. But anyway, so that's just a sneak peek to what it can be. Maybe Jimmy's gonna be the bank, okay? Because we have a lot of money and Bitcoin. I'm just, manifesting over here, okay? So Metaplanet, of course, they are accumulating Bitcoin as well. I don't know if they're increasing. Okay, they just have acquired more Bitcoin over here. Yeah, let the race begin. And of course, hopefully we're going to be able to beat every other companies right now that are acquiring Bitcoin. I think this is a Chinese or Taiwanese company. Real estate, used to be in real estate, hotel business. They just switched to Bitcoin now. That's pretty cool, right? All right, so this is just a trackers of companies. All right, so let's talk about our favorite CEO. Okay, Ryan. So way back, I don't remember how many years ago that was, but and here's a hint, like when people see this, right? This is on the time in which, more than a year ago, you see that he posted this, right? It just means that he's gonna be here for a long time, okay? So buckle up type thing, okay? He's here for a long haul, okay? Again, and people just like, short time price action, don't know anything about building the legacy that works for everyone. If you have good, hardworking, the ethical way of doing things, right? You're gonna get your reward later on. And the reward would be more than just money, because then you gain the reputation of being a good person, that people will stampede to give you money at a 0 interest rate. I'm telling you, this is a testament to great leadership for sure, without his backing, his success in Chewy, and the way that he's now turning, Gamestop around successfully. Yes, there's some roadblock here, but we're doing it. Those things, takes time. And the fact that you and I, as a shareholder, get this guy for free. I don't think money could buy this guy. I'm telling you. So he's doing it for the right reason here, whether it's the shareholder or not. But anyway, this is the one that I was referring to. And so in this over here, the reason why I said April 7th is because of this time right here. Yeah. Monday, and it's on Monday too. Can you imagine that? So perhaps again, I mean, that's a meme, right? Who knows if this is going to be correct or standing true? But I'm thinking, hey, that could be. But yeah, and then he meet up with Carl Icahn. These are like best investor in their own field. This Carl Icahn is notorious for turning a company around, buying something that people don't pay attention to, doesn't want to have it, and turn it around yourself, whether it's yourself or hire people to do it, right? And so I'm telling you, Ryan Cohen was able to do it himself, and there you go. So the rest is history. And then I think this is his father. And then he was lurking in Canada. So this is since the beginning when he was still a chairman. What else? So, and then this is the NFT marketplace. I wonder if it's still up. Let's see. I haven't checked this one for a while. Important update. So we closed back in I mean, that'd be great, right? After a year of closing up, maybe April of this year, we're gonna open it back up. That'd be great. And then see, we have the pro sign up here. Yes, we're still on the Mutable X. Game Changer wanted. You think this partnership would just dissolve like that? No, of course, it's gonna come back. So this is the crypto thing. And the copyright now is current, so 2025 there. Yeah, you guys, like, it was still in a beta mode. So then we're gonna ramp it up. Now, what I'm hoping is that they're gonna develop on this, right? Or they put it on the XRP ledger and all that stuff. That would be great. Again, because then the transaction fee would be so low, and that's gonna help with the bottom line of the company here. That would be great. Now with the stable coin and all that stuff, technically, let's say because we're kind of low risk business, right? We don't want to accept Bitcoin. Let's just say there's a narrative out there, hey, Bitcoin is too scary, too volatile and all that stuff. We could accept stable coin. We don't have to accept Ethereum either, right? But again, Ethereum has its own, its own problem, scaling ability and all that stuff. So it's just a bit too complicated for people to figure out what to do. Storing your own wallet and all that stuff. But it's going to be reserved for just nerds over here, right? Who knows what the loop ring is and all that stuff, right? So a lot of learning curves for sure. And to get more people in, you have to make it easily accessible for people. That's why I'm saying they have to figure that out before this could take off. Anyway, so that would be great if they're coming back with that. Anyway, what else? I think I have one more video before I let you go here. It has to do with legislation for sure. I think it was Cynthia Loomis, that lady. think he just did an interview. This one right here.
It still allows us
Okay, so this one is an interview.
at the end of 20 years to take 1 million Bitcoin.
Bitcoin Act. Why don't you share with people what is the Bitcoin Act, and do you see it as really realistic that in the next 4 years the US will not just be holding Bitcoin in this reserve but actually going out and buying Bitcoin?
Introducing Ziba, the world.
Of course. More ads there. So again, continuing the narrative that the shift of adding Bitcoin and all that stuff is global. It's not just the US, but the US has that unique opportunity to buy at the level in which other country couldn't.
My hope that we can establish,
Because again, as a citizen, right, we are freedom-loving people, and so we don't want to be constrained by any entity at all, of course, right? And Bitcoin give you that freedom to transact. It's a shame that last administration and even the first Trump term in office, we weren't able to do this. It would have been, a done deal already that Bitcoin is going to promote that free, freedom thinker, freedom mind. People who love freedom, okay? Again, as long as you are, law-abiding citizen, I feel like you should be allowed to do anything, unless you're not harming anyone, you're not stealing from anyone. And the fact that they fight so hard to keep Bitcoin this long, and again, who knows? But I have high hopes for Bitcoin, obviously, so.
a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So we would start by converting our current assets that are already in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies into the base investment in a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We think we have about 200,000 Bitcoin that are in the asset forfeiture program at the U.S. Marshal Service. So working with Treasury and the Treasury Secretary, we're trying to find out which assets among those could become the basis of the first year's investment in a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
So when people are freaking out that, the US is not buying Bitcoin and all that stuff, they're just trying to figure out ways to buy it later on. It's just not going to happen right now because they need laws that is not going to be, after Trump gets out of office, whoever gets in the next, whether it's, Republican or Democrats, it's not going to just undo everything, right? And so that's remain to be seen too. Hopefully, they're not going to do that and just sell Bitcoin no matter what, because again, they don't want people to have that freedom, okay, to hold this type of asset. No, they want it for themselves.
And then from there, my legislation would provide that we could take our gold certificates, not our physical gold, but our gold certificates, bring them up to current fair market value for gold, and then use that to buy Bitcoin, thereby creating a 1 million Bitcoin reserve over 5 years. If we did that and then held them for 20 years, it would cut the current national debt in half.
Wait. That just blew my mind.
But our gold certificates, bring them up to current fair market value for gold, and then use that to buy Bitcoin, thereby creating a 1 million Bitcoin reserve over 5 years. If we did that and then held them for 20 years, it would cut the current national debt in half.
Current national debt in half. So what is current national debt right now? I think it's 36. Okay. Okay. Let me do this math real quick. I don't know where she got the number from, but let's see, $36 trillion divided by 2. Okay, that's $18 trillion. So she's saying that 1 million Bitcoin is going to be 1 million Bitcoin is going to be worth $18 trillion in 25 years. Yeah. Now, if GME would have any Bitcoin, right, and hold it for 25 years, yeah, you'll be rich in 25 years, right? And even any amount of time that in between. In 5 years, you're gonna see something amazing, and then in another 10 years, you're gonna see even more amazingness, right? So this asset class is pretty, bullish in that sense, if this is true, obviously. So that blew my mind there. But anyway, you want to, if you want to finish this documentary or interview, you could go right ahead. The channel is Natalie Brunel. Brunel. I have no idea how to say her name. Sorry, I'm very bad with names. And then this is also another one that is kind of
bank to a
talks about bankings and all that stuff and how important Bitcoin is. It explains what it is too, so it's a simple explanation, very easy to follow. And it's called Swan Bitcoin. If you want to search it, it's God Bless Bitcoin right there. So I did the same gold math, but backward. Okay. That was my goal. Gold units in US debt. Okay. Lower US debt. Yeah, for sure. Now, I mean, with gold, obviously, there's a need to hold gold still. I don't think Bitcoin is going to replace gold, but I think gold is going to serve a different function rather than store of value. It could just be used in jewelries, right? And again, jewelries could hold its value too, but rather than just storing it in some lock and storing value in that way, it can be used in a different capacity, right? Could be sold to jewelers and all that stuff rather than just stuck there somewhere for nation state to have, right? So that's going to create the economic incentive for people to be holding gold and all that stuff on their person, on their body, rather than in a vault somewhere. Now hopefully by then we're going to be so rich that we don't care about robbing each other for money anymore. Wouldn't you love to live in a world where you just put a kilo of gold and just walk around, right, without fear of mugging? Stuff like that. Stuff like that is should be a good measurement for success of a country. All right, guys. I think I'm pretty pooped out. Oh my goodness. I just realized I'm on here and there's 14 of you guys here. Dang. Guys, this is like the most I've ever had, I feel. Thank you so much. Don't realize how many people listening to me rambling about nothing at all. Gold has... Okay, store of value for 1,000. Okay. No, it's quite okay. Formidable. Is that what it is? Formidable. I know for thousands of years, right? Yes, because nobody could figure out how to create a digital gold. Don't you know everything's going to digital? That's why we're in trouble right now, Einstein. You know, that's why GME is in trouble. You know, we're going bankrupt over here. Of course, everything's going to go digital. Nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, gold will serve its purpose as well. I don't think, you know, it has to be replacement of anything. But I think Bitcoin just have that flair of like, the way that global trade's gonna be settled now. It's just gonna be different. It's a competition to banks for sure. You know, the regular bank, like the Federal Reserve Bank, right? Again, they're not gonna go down without a fight. Obviously, you know, Federal Reserve has been around for quite some time. It's going to be tough to kind of dismantle every facet because again, they have so much control. What people don't realize is that Federal Reserve have the ability to print money out of thin air. Thin air. Okay, this segment, hold on. There's a snippet here where Jerome was asked about Federal Reserve. And I forgot which part was it. Anyway, if you want to watch this whole thing, Jerome was saying, well, you know, typically, because they were asking, like, are you printing money? It's like, well, yes, we do have some, you know, physical printing press that we just print money into circulation. But typically, we just add more zero onto the balance sheets. And just saying it as if, like, nothing's happening. Like, it's like, this is a normal operation that we're doing. Just creating money out of thin air, you know, whenever we want to. And when I say stuff like that to people, right, people are like, you're crazy, you know, nobody's going to be able to do that. Well, yes, the Fed has the ability to do that. I don't remember at what year, but if you remember, I remember maybe 30 years ago, somebody was saying it, but maybe, no. I think Obama, right? Obama was the one who dismantled that. So it used to be that you need Congress approval for any inflationary action that the Fed is gonna, like, let's say they want to put $1 trillion into the market or into the economy. In order for that $1 trillion to be created, whether through computer or whether through printed money, Congress has to approve. There should be a vote. There has to be a vote. And the approval process, you need to get 2 out of 3, 2/3, okay? 2/3 of Congress to approve it. Just like war, the same way, war, right? Again, they do that to make sure that the government, you know, are held accountable and all that stuff. But then Obama erased that. It's like, oh, there's no more that. I think it was Obama or somebody before that. Who knows? But eventually, again, that rule is not there anymore. And so that's why now we have like more inflation than ever. And everything become more expensive over time. It's just ridiculous. So I don't know, you guys. Like, I don't know how to fix it. But again, I hold GameStop. Now I'm going to hold some Bitcoin too. By proxy. So I'm okay. But just understanding that concept alone, you're going to be like, you know, your mind's going to shift into like, okay, if you don't have gold or any type of asset, you are actually on the risk. Okay, it's actually riskier to own dollar money, okay, fiat currency, than owning Bitcoin. Okay, it's crazy to think, right? Ron Paul talks about ending the Fed for the, yeah, I mean, again, the Fed was the problem. It's just that they've been bought by everyone in Congress, right? And there's a lot of people who are, going into Washington just to get rich themselves. They're actually not fixing anything for the rest of us. They're there to do inside trading, to pat their own pockets, and to enrich their friends that give them the ability to get reelected every single time. So again, you have leaders like that are just corrupt to the core, and so you can't fix the system. So you have to get out of it. So Bitcoin is the only way out. Per now, right? Hopefully, we could invent something else better that are more efficient, right? Way of doing business and all that stuff. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe GME is gonna solve all that problem. Humanity in crisis. Sorry, you guys. I don't know why I'm so doom and gloom today. But yeah, it's April Fool Day. I think I'm so fed up with those April Fool jokes, and so yeah, that's a problem in society that we need to fix too. Okay, so with the price action, of course, yeah, know what's gonna happen. Just so you know, currently, what is the price to book right now? Let's do some calculation together before I let you go here. Jay! Okay, I'm sorry. See, every time you join, I have to go, Jay. I have to go. Sorry about that. Okay, so price to book right now is divided by the, right here, divided by $10 billion and 11. Yes, price to book. Ooh. Guys, look at this. 60% equity. 60% equity. That's a lot. Sorry, there's an airplane right now. I think that's a signal for me to get out. So I'm hoping they're not looking for me for saying those things about the Federal Reserve online. Oh my goodness. Am I being tracked right now? Okay, you guys. So yeah, 60% equity to share. I mean, that's a steal. That is a steal, okay? All right, guys. I will let you go. Sorry about that. Hey, all right. I wish I have at least one Bitcoin because of the money. Of course, over time, it's going to accumulate that, right? Now, I did a calculation. Bitcoin per share, right? Depends on how many shares you have. So perhaps you already have one Bitcoin already because of GME, right? So this is the amount of Bitcoin per share if GME were to buy, $6 billion worth. Okay, so with that, it's pretty good, right? Hopefully, it's going to continue. He's going to continue to accumulate and issue more bonds, issue more preferred share, just like MicroStrategy is doing. And so, yeah, it's yet, the best is yet to be here, you guys. I'm telling you. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Remain to be seen, right? I would love him to buy $6,000. I mean, $6 billion worth. Just rip the Band-Aid out, like, Somebody needs to make a movie about Ryan Cohen. Of course. We're gonna make it happen. Don't worry. By that time, we could just, hire a crew of filmmaker to do it. Hopefully in the future I can buy some Bitcoin with GME winning. Of course. You don't even have to. If GME's going to hold Bitcoin on its balance sheets, you already hold Bitcoin in its by proxy already. So you're in the best stock in the world right now. Why would you want to get out of Bitcoin? Get out of GME to buy Bitcoin. Unless it exceed crazy like $10,000 a share. It's like, okay, then yes, sell some to buy Bitcoin for sure, because that's overvalue, like way too overvalue. $10,000 a share. All right, guys, enough playing. I am kind of pooped out at the moment. I need to eat for sure. But yeah, I appreciate all of you coming in and chiming in here. And yeah, I will see you when I see you. Okay.